It's since a couple of weeks. I'm a little down, but I still wanted to attend today's session.
Thank you, Prabhuji. You can start, Prabhuji.
Sure, Prabhus. Hare Krishna devotees, welcome you all to our daily Bhagavad Gita session. Today we'll go through the verse 721. I haven't been as regular since past few weeks. I've been a little off with my health, so I haven't been as regular. So I definitely need everyone's help, to kind of carry forward with today's discussion, and keep myself, up to date with what has been discussed so far. So I'll share my screen. We'll start with our Mangala Charan prayers. Can one of our devotees volunteer to read the Mangala Charan prayers, please?
Yeah, I can read it.
Om
Ajnanatimrandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamam Hari Priye Vancha Kalpata Rupyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktarinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay, so devotees, it's you can think that it's for my own benefit. Before we delve into the verse 21, how about doing a very quick review or recap about everything that we have discussed so far in the chapter 7, which is the knowledge of absolute. What I don't want to spend too much time, but we'll spend let's say around 5 minutes. I request the devotees on the call to take turns, and we'll just read the translation from verse number 1 or in chapter 7, if that's okay with everyone. Okay, devotees?
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji.
Yeah, just kind of, set our mood in the right context of where we are. So we'll just, I don't know how many devotees have joined so far, but if you all can, maybe one devotee can read one text and then the other one can read the next and third, and then we can kind of rotate among ourselves. We'll just quickly go through quick summary.
Yeah. I can start if you don't mind.
Yes, Prabhuji, please, Prabhuji.
Chapter 7, Knowledge of the Absolute. Text 1. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "Now hear, O son of Pratha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt."
I can go next, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
I shall now declare unto you in full this knowledge, both phenomenal and numinous. This being known, nothing further shall remain for you to know. Hare Krishna.
I can read the text 3. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and false ego. All together of these 8 constitute my separated material energies.
Besides these, O mighty armed Arjuna, there is another superior energy of mind which comprises the living entities who are exploiting the resources of this material inferior nature.
All created beings having their source in these two natures. No, all created beings have their source in these two natures. Of all that is material and all that is spiritual in this world, know for certain that I am both the origin and the dissolution.
Text 7. O conqueror of wealth, there is no truth superior to me. Everything rests upon me, as pearls are strung on a thread.
Text 8. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon. The syllable Om in the Vedic mantras, I am the sound in ether and ability in man. Hare Krishna.
I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat in fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics.
O son of Pratha, know that I am the original seed of all existence, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of the powerful man.
Know that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance. I'm sorry, I think I missed one. Yeah, text 11. Text 11. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bharatas, Arjuna.
Text 12. Now that all states of being, be they of goodness, passion, or ignorance, are manifested by my energy, I am in one sense everything, but I am independent. I am not under the modes of material nature, for they, on the contrary, are within me.
Text 13. Deluded by the 3 modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance, the whole world does not know me, who am above the modes and inexhaustible. Hare Krishna.
This divine energy of mind, consisting of the 3 modes of material nature, is difficult to overcome. But those who have surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it.
Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among the mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by the illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of the demons, do not surrender unto me.
16. O best among the Bharatas, 4 kinds of pious men begin to render devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute. Hare Krishna.
Text 17. Of these, the one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in pure devotional service is the best, for I am very dear to him and he is dear to me.
Text 18. All these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous souls, but he who is situated in knowledge of me, I consider to be just like my own self. Being engaged in my transcendental service, he is sure to attain me, the highest and most perfect goal.
Text 19. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is. Such a great soul is very rare. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the text 20, which I think Prabhuji covered yesterday, those whose intelligence has been stolen by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own natures. So devotees, as you may see, this is the chapter where Krishna says the knowledge of the absolute. And as you go through this text, you start noticing that Krishna starts explaining about this material nature, what is like the complete knowledge. And he also talks about some of his characteristics, or what he is and his supremacy and who he is in the context of this entire creation. So you can see him, like telling, giving an analogy of who he is in different aspects. And then in this particular section, we also need to we understood that no matter what Krishna has mentioned in the previous verses, Krishna also is mentioning Arjuna, that it's whatever we are aspiring for, which is the true devotional service to the lotus feet of the Lord, is not something that's easily attainable. It is easily attainable, but at the same time, it's not as easy too, because Krishna himself is clearly mentioning that after a soul takes many cycles of birth and death, it comes to a platform of realization where it understands that the Supreme Lord is none other than, he's the Supreme Lord. We have to, in order for us to obtain the spiritual wealth of or the spiritual bliss, the only other way is for us to surrender ourselves to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So first of all, understanding the Supreme Lord and understanding the fact that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, to get to that level of realization, and then thereafter reaching to that point, practicing the devotional life or engaging in devotional service, for somebody to get to that level or to that platform, Krishna is saying it takes many births, and he's also acknowledging the fact that such a great soul is very rare. So one thing is that what we all are aspiring for, we need to be cognizant that it's not something that can be easily attainable, because Krishna is saying that it is something that's very rare. Second thing is, at the same time, we should also consider ourselves extremely fortunate that because of our past karma or the mercy of the devotees, we are currently positioned in such a fortunate place where our mind is placed in such a position where we are seeking the highest truth, which is understanding the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So one thing I just wanted to reiterate here is that coming together and reading Bhagavad Gita and understanding who we are and our relationship with the Lord and is not a small thing. It's the rarest thing, and we are engaged in that rare activity. So I just want to acknowledge and thank each and every devotee who have been very consistently attending these Bhagavad Gita classes, as well as doing their part of devotional service on a regular basis. And I also request all of you to please pray for me as well, so that I can follow your footsteps as well, to kind of engage myself sincerely in this path. So that being said, we'll go to the main text. So as you see here, Krishna is talking in verse 20 that those who are less intelligent will worship the demigods, and they have their own motives behind worshiping demigods. So we'll kind of go through the text 21 and try to understand what Krishna is explaining in this verse. Can one of our devotees go through this verse, please? I mean, you can read through the verse as well as the translation, synonyms and translation.
Sure, Prabhuji. Okay, please go ahead. Yeah.
Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Okay, chapter 7, verse 21. Yo ya tanu bhakta shraddha tumichati tasya chala shraddha tameva vidyamyaham. The translation:
Prabhuji,
Yeah, maybe we could have one or two other
yeah, a
devotees.
couple of more devotees can also read the shloka, and then we'll go to synonyms and then translation. Prabhuji.
Yes, so yeah,
I can go next.
sure, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yo yo yam yam tannum bhaktah श्रद्धचार श्रद्धयार्चितुमिच्छति तस्य तस्याचलं श्रद्धां तामेव विदधाम्यहम्. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I can also try. Hare Krishna devotees, and pranam, all Krishna Shri Prabhupada and Gurudev. Yo yo yam tanam bhakta shraddhayarchitam ichchati tasya chalam shraddha tam eva vidyayam aham. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Can one of our devotees read the synonyms and translation, please?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, please go
okay,
ahead.
good. Okay. Yeah, whoever. Yeah, whichever. Tanum, form of a demigod. Bhakta, devotee. Shraddhaya, with faith. Achatam, to worship. Ichchati, desires. Tasya, to him. Achalam, steady. Shraddham, faith. Tam, that. Eva, surely. Vidadami, give. Aham, I. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. And I'm in everyone's heart as the super soul. As soon as one desires to worship some demigod, I make his faith steady so that he can devote himself to that particular deity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I can read Prabhuji
Yes, please.
first paragraph, other devotee can read the second.
Sure.
God has given independence to everyone. Therefore, if a person desires to have material enjoyment and wants very sincerely to have such facilities from the material demigods, the Supreme Lord, as Super Soul in everyone's heart, understands and gives facilities to such persons. As the Supreme Father of all living entities, he does not interfere with their independence, but gives all the facilities so that they can fulfill their material desires. Some may ask why all the powerful God gives facilities to the living entities for enjoying this material world, and so lets them fall into the trap of the illusory energy. The answer is that if the Supreme Lord as Super Soul does not give such facilities, then there is no meaning to independence. Therefore, he gives everyone full independence, whatever one likes, but his ultimate instruction we find in the Bhagavad Gita. One should give up all other engagements and fully surrender unto him. That will make them happy. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
I can read the next paragraph. Prabhuji.
Yes, Mataji, please.
Both the living entity and the demigods are subordinate to the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the living entity cannot worship the demigod by his own desire, nor can the demigod bestow any benediction without the supreme will. As it is said, not a blade of grass moves without the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Generally, people who are distressed in the material world go to the demigods as they are advised in the Vedic literature. A person wanting some particular thing may worship such and such a demigod. For example, a diseased person is recommended to worship the sun god. A person wanting education may worship the goddess of learning, Saraswati. And a person wanting a beautiful wife may worship the goddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva. In this way, there are recommendations in the Shastras, Vedic literatures, for different modes of worship of different demigods. And because a particular living entity wants to enjoy a particular material facility, the Lord inspires him with a strong desire to achieve that benediction from that particular demigod. And so he successfully receives the benediction. The particular mode of the devotional attitude of the living entity towards a particular type of demigod is also arranged by the Supreme Lord. The demigods cannot infuse the living entities with such an affinity, but because he is the Supreme Lord, or the Super Soul who is present in the hearts of all living entities, Krishna gives impetus to man to worship certain demigods. The demigods are actually different parts of the universal body of the Supreme Lord, and therefore they have no independence. In the Vedic literature, it is stated that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Super Soul, is also present within the heart of the demigod. Therefore, he arranges through the demigod to fulfill the desire of the living entity. But both the demigod and the living entity are dependent on the Supreme Will. They are not independent. Hare Krishna. I think from that second paragraph, what I'm reading and what I'm understanding is that Krishna is saying that even though different types of people, depending on their wants or desires, they may worship different demigods. For example, Saraswati to gain knowledge, or the sun god to get cured of a disease. But Krishna is saying that that desire to get that thing that they want and the ability or that attraction to that demigod and to worship that demigod is actually coming from Krishna's will. Both the living entity and the demigods, they have Krishna within their hearts, and that Krishna is inspiring the person to worship this demigod, not to get something, um, and that's why they are not like fully independent. It's really Krishna inspiring them to do that worship. I think I understood this much, but you can add more. Hare Krishna.
Sure. Thank you, Mataji. Thanks for summarizing. Baldev Prabhu, do you want to chime in or say anything?
Sure, Prabhuji. So in the first para, the Prabhupada explaining that why some living, actually human being, prays to demigod, why they didn't surrender to the Krishna. But Krishna is a supreme personal Godhead and he is always with us as Paramatma. Still, why we are motivated to worship demigod? So there's one simple example that sometimes as a father, we don't allow our kids to do some particular thing or eating something too sweet that will cause pain to his teeth or her teeth and will cry. But sometimes kids are very adamant to get these things. They keep crying, and father becomes so irritated that, okay, you eat it and get suffer and learn from, from that lesson. So though Lord doesn't want us not worship the demigod, but sometimes we're so willing to do some bad things, or it's not a bad thing to worship demigod, because of the living, because we all have a independent will, or what is called, Prabhupada said here, what is the term Prabhuji here used? We have independence, right? Minute independence. That independence actually, if not purified, it takes us to the different route, and we worship the demigods. And most of the time it happens people who wants material success, enjoyment. But that is, Krishna said in the next few verses that those achievement, those power of those material gain will not last long. Antabanta phalantesham. They are like it will be gone in this lifetime even. But if we want to go back to the Godhead, we have to surrender to the Lord. But still, due to our independence, God does not interfere with our will, that if someone wants to pray to the demigod. And to speak the truth, we see in the Bhagavatam also, gopis are praying to the Katyayani. Why they're praying to the Katyayani? They're willing that Katyayani will bless them, so gopis get Krishna as their husband. So if you, anytime you need to pray, even we saw Rukmini Devi was praying to Kali, So Krishna comes and kidnaps her and marries her. So they did worship demigod, but to get Krishna. So we can ask demigods that please bless us that we have more bhakti to Krishna. You are more dear to Krishna, so demigod can help us or bless us, but not for material gain. Back to Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thanks for very nicely presenting it. Any other devotees want to share their thoughts about, the purport that we have read?
Yeah, I can add something. See, people have desires, and in this day and age, it's all about instant gratification. So we're talking about health, wealth, fame. So for each of these things, we might, if we are not in the mode of goodness, if we are like in Rajoguna and Tamoguna, then we are desperate to get what we want, whatever it is, because we might want some wealth or something, or want some yeah. Uh, so then we tend to uh, uh, pray to these demigods so that we get our desires satisfied. But because they have not risen yet to the mode of goodness, they don't go beyond the material platform. They don't realize that everything in the material platform is also being controlled uh, by the Supreme, and he is the cause of all the everything that we are under the influence of material, uh, the Maya, but they don't know that. So they are seeking instant gratification. But as Krishna says, uh, the what the demigods, the benediction that the demigods give us, is actually coming from him, and he is giving us the independence uh, to ask for whatever we want from the demigods. But the reason, well, he has to, because he gives independence to everyone. So we have our own free will to do what we want. Either we uh, keep requesting material desires, which, as Baldev Seva Prabhu said, is all temporary because it's going to vanish in this very lifetime. You ask for wealth, you can't take it back with you when you leave this body. So, in the end, the only way is to, once you realize that, get into the sattva guna, then you realize that you should really be praying to Krishna, and that's what the pure devotees are. They they don't want anything. They know that it's all futile. So they are going to go straight to the lotus feet of Krishna, as we are trying to do in this ISKCON movement. Uh, One other thing I want to say is that the demigod worship, some of the prominent demigods. Uh, in India, it's very common. In Ganesh Chaturthi, for instance, I mean, even our home, we used to buy this clay idol uh, every Ganesh puja. Then you do, puja to it, uh, and then after 2 or 3 days, I think you then take that and immerse it in a lake or something. Then, uh, then people do Saraswati Puja, Lakshmi Puja. Then, prior to the wedding, I think the women do a Gauri Puja. Then there is Mahashivratri. So we have all grown up through this in a way. At least I certainly have. And but also we were praying to Krishna at the same time. It wasn't that Krishna was absent or Rama were absent. They were also there. But during these periods of festivals, we used to also pray to the demigods. So I just wanted to add that.
No, that's really good, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you very much to all the devotees for sharing some key points here. And I totally echo with you, Raghu Prabhu, that while we were raising in India, I mean, obviously we all are very familiar with celebrating all kinds of festivals, right? We literally have like, all the prominent festivals, like every month there's something or the other happening. And we all have grown up, praying to demigods. I think each one of us at some point of time in our life had our own affinities towards various demigods. I mean, if I can think about myself when I was young, I used to be very excited about the idea of Ganesh Chaturthi, like, having that idols, and, I used to go around, look for which idol is big. Uh, I was more kind of, like attracted towards the form of the Lord Ganesh and also Hanuman. I was very much inclined to praying to Hanuman, and primarily because, while growing up, my parents would teach me that, okay, if you pray to Hanuman, you will not have fear. You will, if you want to be strong, and you should pray to Hanuman every day, and he will protect you from any dangers. And likewise, if you pray to Ganesh, if you pray to Mother Saraswati, you will get knowledge, and you can, do well in your exams. And I know particularly a good number of my friends, a day before or a couple of days before the final exams, they would visit temples more often than they would do the otherwise. And more importantly, even during the time of results, like I've seen most of my friends like going to the temples, praying to the Lord, seeking for the best results. And I think, each one of us might have experienced this while we were growing up. Uh, you know, like we had our own affinities to different demigods. And one thing which was very striking, as far as my Krishna conscious journey is concerned, is I again, this is just very personal to me. It's my personal experience that even before I came into Krishna consciousness, when I used to go to the temples of demigods, I mean, previously my mind was always focused around, keep me in the right track, help me do good in everything that I'm engaged in. That used to be my focus when it comes to prayers. But then at some point, slowly, um, I there was a point in my life where I was like, I don't know, I don't know what is right. I don't know what the fact is or what, because I was kind of confused. Everyone was sharing different things about who the Lord is. They would tell me like, okay, if you need so and so, you have so and so problem, go pray to this God and that God. I was very confused at one point, and I remember very specifically going to the temple, and I was just praying to the Lord that I have no idea who the Supreme Lord is, but whoever it is, I just want to pray to you that you please give me or bestow me devotion to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. And at that time, I was not in Krishna consciousness. I would pray to Krishna, I would pray to Lord Ram, on all the demigods, but um, I know particularly that for a very good amount of time when I was in my college, my only prayer would be that, uh, please give me devotion to the Supreme Lord. That was my only word. I would say Supreme Lord. I don't know why it came to me. I was not introduced to Krishna consciousness at that time. And then if I look back, if I kind of really connect the dots, uh, I mean, me getting associated with the devotees. I mean, devotees came in touch with me. It was my great fortune. And then a lot of these questions I mean, like devotees started answering a lot of questions I had in my mind uh, up until that point of time, especially about who the Supreme Lord is and who are all these demigods. And as I started learning a lot from the devotees, as I started reading our scriptures, things were more clear to me, because it was totally making sense that we there is only one source, and that's the Supreme Lord. And that supreme source is the reason, is what is kind of giving the energies to the rest of the manifestations. So things started becoming much more clear to me. Again, this is based on my personal experience as far as, the engagement with demigods is concerned. But devotees, there are two key things that I really like, when I'm reading through the purport that really strike me. One is the two words actually. One is the word desire, and the other one is the word independence. So I think the most important thing that I'm learning here is that being in this material body, we all are bound to have desires. And, some of them may have desires in the mode of goodness. I mean, we all are like, we have various modes in different proportions. We have mode of goodness, passion, we exhibit mode of goodness, passion, as well as ignorance in different levels. And even our desires also are influenced by the modes, mode of goodness, mode of passion, and mode of ignorance. So when we approach the demigods, I think one important thing is in what mode are we approaching them? Because there are people who approach the demigods to give them the power so that they can do something really bad for the society, right? So those are the people who have that mode of ignorance, that they're going to the demigods and asking them to fulfill some desires, and in turn they're going to use those benedictions to create some kind of a havoc, right? I mean, we have seen this in quite a few examples. Ravana is a classic example. He prayed to Lord Shiva, and he got those boons. And what was he doing after getting all the boons? What about Hiranyakashipu? He got all the boons, and what was he using that for? To really create a disharmony in the society. So I think what is really important is, first thing is, when people are approaching the demigods, in what mode are they approaching? Whether be it mode of goodness, mode of passion, or mode of ignorance. There is a repercussion for each mode. And the second thing is, the fact that the Lord is present in everyone's heart as a super soul. He knows our desire, no matter what, right? I mean, we have discussed this in one of the session, that Krishna is sitting in our heart. He's playing two roles. One is the role of an observer. He's just not doing anything, but he's just observing things. And the second role is, of us, somebody who's sanctioning things for us. So if we desire something, and if in order for that desire to be fulfilled, it needs to have, one is the desperation and the strength of the desire that you have, and the second thing is Krishna's sanction. Unless this Krishna sanctions it, it won't happen for you, right? So the two key things. One is, Krishna is playing these two different roles. On one side, he's giving us the independence that, and other side, he's observing what kind of decisions we will take. So as I think I really loved what Baldev Prabhu has mentioned, and I have personally experienced this with my kid as well, that there are moments where I have educated her, okay, this is not good. You don't want to eat too many sugars. But then there will be a point where you'll be like, okay, that's fine. Okay, you want it, so just go get it. And then I'll just wait for the right time to communicate to her when she's sick and all. And then I'll tell her that, because on that day I told you not to eat this, but you insisted, that you were adamant about having that, and therefore you ended up, being sick or something like that. So I'll just wait for the right time to communicate. I think in the same way, I mean, the Supreme Lord gives us that free will and independence to make our own decisions and judgments. And he bestows the benedictions so that we can reap the benefits of those desires and experience them. But Krishna knows for sure that whatever we are experiencing is not going to remain permanently with us. And he will understand, he also knows that we at some point of time in this journey will realize that whatever the things that we were, material desires that we were hankering for, are absolutely temporary in nature, and they are not really worth it at all. So he is just waiting for the right time. And then this is what we're talking about, is people who Krishna has mentioned as less intelligent, right? And the people who are smart and intelligent, Krishna bestows them with the desire to, those people who are smart, in other words, desire not for any material gains, but they have only one desire, that is to transcend themselves spiritually and to engage themselves in devotional service. So Krishna reciprocates according to the desires that we have. And I think the bottom line message that I'm taking is that, demigods, yes, they cannot do things independently. We should understand the fact that Krishna is the root cause of everything, the source of all, and all the demigods are empowered by the Supreme Lord. So even though the demigod may be bestowing things to his devotee, but the person behind that who is actually bestowing things is the Supreme Lord himself. So, I think, and at the same time, I think once a person has that realization that demigods are following or working under the supervision of the Supreme Lord. In fact, if we see, demigods are the ones they are following the rules, right? Like, they are following the laws of what the Lord has created. So Krishna has more affinity towards the Supreme Lords compared to us, who don't really follow the rules, who break the rules. So the Lord bestows the demigods with that special power, because they are kind of a little closer and dear to him as well. So I think, devotees, I want others to chime in a few more thoughts. I have a few more things that I wanted to share, but I see Mahesh Prabhu has raised his hand. I'm sorry, Prabhu, I don't know when you raised your hand.
It's okay, Prabhuji. Yeah. Yeah, if I can add a little bit to this one, let me start with the translation of the verse first. In the translation, we can see that I'm in everyone's heart as a super soul. So everybody, including the demigods themselves, they are also. The Sri Krishna is in the soul of that demigod. So as soon as one desires, so say like I desire for say knowledge and I worship to the Lord Ganesha. So now what happens is like that is also a kind of a bhakti between me and Sri Ganesha. And what Lord Sri Krishna is doing is he is making sure I have a faith in the Lord Ganesha, so I can get the knowledge about whatever the wish I am thinking of. Yeah, or say I am a devotee of say Lord Hanuman, and I want say like the get rid of the fear in my mind. Yes, I can means the Lord Sri Krishna is giving that faith to me that I can pray to the Lord Hanuman. Yeah. So what I see here is the Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme soul and super soul, and basically he is giving us the freedom of for whatever the reason it may be like a sattva, raja, tama. That is what we saw, the three gunas of the devotees or the bhaktas. Yeah, according to his wish, he will fulfill that one. Yeah, but to get that ultimate moksha, everyone means even including the gods, they also have to go to Lord Sri Krishna to get the moksha. Yeah, and that is what happens. Like when we say that, like I'm praying to Lord Hanuman for getting the rid of the fear, but Lord Hanuman himself is the devotee of Prabhu Sri Ram. Yeah, and Prabhu Sri Ram is the basically the reincarnation of Lord Krishna. Yeah, so that way, if even though I am for material enjoyment or for whatever the reason I am devotee of Hanuman, actually I am the ultimately the devotee of Lord Sri Krishna. So that's the I just want to say thank you and Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mahesh Prabhu. Very nicely explained, Prabhu. Thank you very much. And devotees, as you may see, like, either directly or indirectly, no matter what we do, uh, whatever the offerings that we may have, whatever the prayers that we may render to either demigods, they are eventually, will they are offered to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So the question here is, uh, does somebody want to take a direct flight, or does somebody want to take, a, a route that has multiple pauses? I think if you really ask a smart person, because they respect time and the fact that they appreciate the importance of time, they always want to take the direct route, right? And so one of the key things here, that I have learned in, being in Krishna consciousness, is that, instead of me approaching multiple demigods for various reasons, what if I approach the Supreme Lord, who is the bestower of all those, or upon, whose control all the demigods are working, or whose direction all the demigods are working? If I have that access to the Supreme Lord, I would rather go directly to the Supreme Lord and express myself. Again, we can approach the Supreme Lord, like it is mentioned in the previous verses. People who are in distress approach him. People who wants name and fame would approach him. People who seek knowledge approach him. So there are various moods in which you can approach the Supreme Lord. But the ultimate mood, of when we approach the Supreme Lord, is to aspire for us to continuously engage in the devotional service, and also, increase our taste towards the Supreme Lord. That is the ultimate prayer that I think we all should aspire to, when it comes to desiring or putting our desires in front of the Supreme Lord. Um, Devotees, does anybody want to add any other things?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
So in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a nice verse, though in Bengali. কৃষ্ণ ভক্তি আছে যার সর্বদেবতা বন্ধু তার, who has the devotion to Lord Krishna, all the demigods are his friends. So demigods are in superior to us. They are more, as you said, more dear to Krishna. That's why Lord Krishna chosen them as the powerful minister for different aspects of the to maintain the material world. But they are our friends, not the gods. So bhakti word only for Krishna. That cannot be bhakti to demigods. Demigods, yeah, we can pray to demigods who are powerful, will help me to meet the senators or prime Trump. But ultimately, Krishna is the supreme, and bhakti word only goes to Krishna. Bhakti cannot be to Ganesh, bhakti cannot be to Kali. So bhakti word only reserved for Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Fuji. And devotees, I think, I also want to share that since that moment onwards, I think every time I approach a demigod, I always pray to them to give me bhakti towards the Supreme Lord. Um, you know, a lot of times, even within my close family circle, because they know that I pray to Krishna and all. So they would be asking me these questions. I mean, in my most recent visit, they were asking me, "Oh, so does it mean like you're not gonna celebrate Ganesh Chaturthi? Does it mean you're not gonna pray to like Mother Lakshmi?" And all. When they come up with these questions, I say that I pray to them. Who said that I don't pray to them? I pray to them, but my only prayer to them is that I pray to them to increase my devotion to the Supreme Lord. Because what is the greatest prayer that somebody can do, like to Hanuman? If you approach Hanuman, instead of asking him to give you the fearlessness and bravery and whatnot, if you just ask him, could you please, Hanuman, please bless me with intense devotion to the lotus feet of Lord Ram, then what do you think will impress Hanuman when it comes to these two different prayers that we have? He would naturally feel more inclined to bestow us to our prayers of blessing us with the Supreme Lord's the devotion towards the Supreme Lord. So I think the question here is not about whether we all should definitely respect every single demigod. I think one of the things that we have learned from all the Vaishnavas is that we respect every single demigod, and Krishna actually specifies that demigods are very dear to him and they are all working under his direction. And so, therefore, it's very important for us to respect all the demigods and don't undermine them, or talk something, which is not, in, uh, anything disrespectful. We should definitely respect them as being the super devotees or supreme or the super servants of the Supreme Lord. So it's like, we talk about being the servants of the servants. So demigods are the super servants of the Supreme Lord. So we should look at them as devotees of the Lord and have our reverence as just the way how we have towards the Vaishnavas. So any other points that devotees want to talk about? I mean, there's one thing though, the last, if you see here, um, this is a really good point, right? I've had people ask me this question. They're like, why is Krishna creating all this? I mean, because I used to have some discussions with my friends, and they would be like, okay, so we understand that Krishna is creating this material world for us to enjoy. But why is he even creating negative things? Why can't he just have everything positive, everything good, so that there is no evil, there's no bad things? Why is he even giving this opportunity for people to engage in bad activities? And if at all, if we completely eradicate that or remove that, then everybody would have been a sane soul. Everybody would have been following, Krishna consciousness. But I think it's a similar, this point is in the similar lines, right? Some may ask why this all-powerful God gives facilities to all the living entities for enjoying this material world, when one side we know that this material world is dukkalayam ashashvatam. And I think the answer that's been given here is that if the Supreme Lord doesn't give both the sides of the coin, then he is not termed as a Supreme Lord, right? I mean, so, and the other important thing that we need to understand is the fact that Krishna wants people to have a true desire to go back to him. There will be, that's why I think in order to filter out the purest, Krishna creates an environment where both those who are aspiring or pure and those who are impure will thrive. So so that it becomes easy for him to distinguish that those who are really desperate will figure out a way to come out of that environment that he has created. So in other words, he's looking at the determination, he's testing the determination of those souls who really want to surrender to him, who really want to attain him. And because that's like a litmus test. Once somebody passes through this, Krishna assures them, he says, after all in Bhagavad Gita, he says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam Vraja. So Krishna is telling in that verse that I have given you all kinds of things through the Vedic literature. You do this to get this, you do this to get this. But the ultimate thing that Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita is give up everything and just surrender unto me. And Krishna is saying that will make you happy, and that will help you attain the ultimate realization. So it's a very nice, it's a very good, um, I think, verse to especially understand the position of the demigods in the entire context, and to really have a much deeper understanding and appreciation towards the role that the demigods play. So, and devotees,
I have
yes,
a question, Prabhuji.
yes, ma'am.
So, for demigods, is it fair to say that at some point they were like Jivatmas, just like you and I, and through
Yes.
their devotion, they became, and service, they became more and more dear to God? And is is their position similar to Brahma, where it's like just a position, but that
Yes.
position can be taken by like different people?
Yes, Mataji. I mean, my understanding is that all the demigods hold a different position. So, as Baldev Prabhu was mentioning, if you look into an administration or of a country, let's say, as a matter of fact, you have the president of a country playing the most crucial role, but then you have all these various departments: Department of Defense, Agriculture, Education, and whatnot. So the analogy that I always heard from listening to senior Vaishnavas lectures is that all these demigods are holding different designations and different positions. So we know, like, the sun god, right? The sun god is not a god himself. Like, it's a position. It's a position, and for this Kali Yuga, for this yuga, it's holded by Vivaswan. He is the one who is holding that position of the sun god. Likewise, Lord Brahma, it's a position, and it's been holded by Lord Brahma. Like, these are not like individual people that we all, I think, even at the very beginning stages, even while we were growing up, we thought, okay, Indra is a designated person. That person name itself is Indra, and he's a demigod and he lives forever. That was my understanding too at the very, initial stages. But then as I, dwelled into understanding and listening to the lectures, I understood that the position of Indra, like Indra is a position. It's like uh, the demigod of, the king of the demigods is a position, and the person can keep changing. And when somebody can actually elevate themselves to the position of a Brahma or a sun god or a moon god or to any other different demigod position, yes, there are certain demigods um, who may not be position centered. Um, like, for example, Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva's is, it, we have like seen explanations given about Lord Shiva. Is if you talk about the material and the spiritual energy, we have heard this example that if Krishna is the milk, Lord Shiva is the curd. So when Krishna comes in contact with the material realm, that energy is of Lord Shiva. So, except for few positions, most of these are like specific to a position. And yes, after an individual soul goes through a series of pious activities and goes through various cycles of elevation, spiritual elevation, they will get into those positions. And
Thank you.
this is my understanding. And Baldev Prabhu, Subal Prabhu, others, you can all add, please.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for
Yeah,
explaining.
I think that is
one more.
correct. In one of the
Sadashiva Prabhuji, only in Shiva Tattva also Sadashiva is there. Sadashiva is not a position, but all the Rudras are again positions.
Okay.
Even like Lord Brahma, in fact, not only elevation, while even falling down also, we were, each one of us was Brahma at one point. And of course, the falling down happens, right? So the same way, elevation, of course, if you're a pure devotee, you can get elevated directly to the spiritual planet. You don't need to, go through all these, right? And of course, we call it A, B, C, D, right? B is birth and D is death. So between birth and death, we have C. C is a choice. So the analogy what I have heard about, like, you can board an airplane, there is an origin and a destination, right? So that is fixed. But what inside the airplane, once it is airborne, what you can do, you can make network and be good, and or you can make some nuisance, and once you reach the destination you will be jailed, something like that, right? So you have minute independence, you don't actually have a full independence. We are in this jail, we are in this Durga is jail, but we can be a good individuals in the jail, And now once we get out of the jail, you can go back to your home. Otherwise, you will stay here forever.
Thank you,
Again, I
Prabhuji.
think Pawan Prabhuji wanted to add.
So
Sorry.
one thing I would like to share with Mataji's question, that Brahma's one day is 1,000 Chaturjuga, right? And these 1,000 Chaturjuga divided into 14 monus. So one monu's lifetime is 71 Chaturjugas. So that is a lifetime of Indra. So current Indra is Purandar. Next cycle, the Purandar will be next, that means Chaturjuga. Now it is next Monu lifetime, there's another Indra, that will be Boli Maharaj. Boli Maharaj was given the boons by the Lord, that will be the Indra next time. So that's the proof that Indra is a position. So now the Purandar is the Indra, current Indra, next will be Boli Maharaj.
Thank you for explaining.
In some cases, like when the Prime Minister is there, if there is not a good position, the Prime Minister leads like finance or some ministries, right? In the same way, if there is not a suitable demigod, Lord Krishna himself expands him as that. Like right now, the sun god Vivishwan, he is none other than Narayana. I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, Mataji, we have Jiva Tattva and Vishnu Tattva. So all these are Jiva Tattvas, even Brahma, Rudras, all of them. And Vishnu Tattvas are like, all the incarnations of the Lord.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I actually have a related question. So, like, in this purport, we are understanding that we should not really like worship any of the demigods. We should really water the root of the tree, which is Lord Krishna. And if we do that, we get everything. So then a follow-up question or thought that comes to my mind is that we also say at the same time that in addition to Krishna, we should also worship our guru. So, like, I wanted to understand a little bit more. Like, does that mean that the guru is actually like, are we worshipping the guru because he is the one showing us the path to Krishna, and it's just a respect or thankfulness for showing us that path?
Yeah, we cannot directly worship Krishna actually. We can only worship through Guru. Without the mercy of Guru, we cannot worship Krishna. So, I mean, of course, I think Prabhuji, please add.
Well, Guru is the representative of Krishna on earth. So that's why you have to take a guru, and then he leads you to Krishna. That's why Prabhupada, for instance, he's the ultimate guru that we have, and then there are other gurus, of course. Yeah. So I think Pawan Prabhu wanted to say something earlier.
No, the same thing I was gonna say. Bali Maharaj was given the boon to come back as Indra in the next cycle, and one other point is, and again for reference, Bali Maharaj, if people don't know, is the Vaman avatar when Vishnu comes in Vaman avatar and puts his leg on top of the king. That is the King Bali. And even in like as growing up when we used to watch like god movies, right? Like all the like as kids when we watched all the god movies, we would see whenever there was problem in even Swargaloka, any loka, all the gods ran to Vishnu only for help. So that way, even like that was imbibed in us in some form. But now when we read this, we can relate to it a little bit more and understand why they showed it like that in the past.
Not only Prabhuji, they used to go first to the Brahma. Under Brahma leadership, they used to go to the Vishnu.
Vishnu. Like in the end, everybody, all the movies, like serial shows, whatever we watched, in the end, they showed that all the demigods did go in the end to Vishnu or Krishna. And now when we read this, it kind of relates those things very easily.
Yes, the problem solver always has been Krishna. Yes, yes, Puri. That's a really good point. Yeah, you're spot on that one. But one thing for sure, devotees, I think in this material world, I think we all bring our own karmic reactions, karmas, have our own background. So we are bound to experience everything, right? The good or the bad. Um, for past couple of weeks, I am not being in my best, health, with severe cough and things like that. And it has an impact or toll on myself and my day-to-day activities and whatnot. Uh, and I was listening to one lecture, and the devotee was telling that the very nature is that, okay, you'll be fine for like a few weeks, and then afterwards you'll have the best of your you'll be in the best of your health, and you'll experience the best things that come out of it, and then again you'll fall sick, and then you get better. So he was explaining more in terms of like the happiness and the stress that come as a cycle in this material world, which are not necessarily in our hand, because those are already, like, we are bringing them from our past karmic activities. But what's in our hand is something that, we really need to focus on, uh, which is, trying to have a very intense desire to the Lord, to always keep us close to him and always engage us in his devotional service. So he was telling, like, no matter whatever the position we may be in, whether we may be experiencing the best or the worst, just keep that desire in your heart and pray intensely to the Lord that, to kind of continuously engage in you in his devotional service. Um, so, with that, devotees, I just want to end today's discussion and facilitation towards today's discussion. I really thank each and every devotee for sharing your thoughts. And if I have spoken anything incorrect, or, please, I forgive your apologies. And thank you all for giving me this opportunity once again.
Thank you, Prabhuji. I didn't realize that
Thank
it
you.
was 10 minutes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
So it was a very lively discussion. Then we didn't look
Very
at the
nice.
watch.
Yes, Prabhuji, very nice discussion. We
Yeah.
learned a lot.
It's-
Hare
I,
Krishna.
I was thinking, I mean, I know earlier today I was debating whether I'll be, able to speak well or not, because I was having this throat thing, and my manager told me yesterday, don't even speak in the meetings, because they were like, they understood what my voice was going through. And I know maybe an hour or a couple of hours before, I was trying to revise the what was discussed yesterday and the previous weeks, and I was talking with Raghu Prabhu. I told Prabhu, I don't know if I'll be able to talk through, but I wanted all of you to kind of help me. So I thank all the devotees to kind of really have this
That's
engagement.
the magic of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhuji. When you start speaking Bhagavad Gita, all
Yeah.
the pain, whatever, it goes away automatically.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, when I started, I thought, okay, maybe I'll be mostly passive today, but I think I probably spoke the most out of all. And it usually happens with me. I'm sorry.
It happens to everybody, Prabhuji, not you.
Yeah.
And
Well,
this should happen every day, Prabhuji, not just one day.
yeah, it's true, Prabhu.
Yeah.
I wish to be all, as sincere as, I think our devotees are like really amazing. I'm not attending the calls lively, but I'm seeing the videos on YouTube occasionally and kind of listening to so very well engaged discussions. It's very nice to hear different perspectives, and also it's a good refresher for us. Also, we may have heard these voices, but I think it's a good way to revise and then continue to meditate upon our day or end our day praying to the Lord. So thank you, devotees. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhupada ki
Ki
jai,
jai.
Kartik Prabhu ki jai. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Kartik Prabhuji ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Mataji ki jai. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Uh,
Hare